All right, so this, I'm going to demonstrate configuring FTP. I believe I may already have demonstrated on this particular system. What I have right now, I am looking at my Nmap localhost output on my network services server. Um, so now, I can see from my IP address show output here that my IP address is right. That correlates to the zone database I've built referencing this server in my LAN segment. So if I were to go over to my client, particularly my Windows 10 client, I could ping ftp.tstc.local and go straight here. From my Debian client, I'm going to have to go use things, but using the IP address. Using a .local domain has added a few wrinkles to how Linux handles the resolution process. It may, in point of fact, be giving up before ever trying to talk to the DNS server that it actually knows about. So I'm going to go to my network services server. I'm going to do nmap 192.168.1.5. And okay, so it comes back. I've got my web server up. I've got my FTP server up. Now let's do a version scan. Capital S, uppercase V, bam. And it will come back in a minute and tell me I'm running vsftpd because that's what I started. Okay, vsftp version 303. The next thing I can do is sudo service vsftpd status. Oh, it would help if I spelled it correctly, wouldn't it? Indeed it would. Okay, so it's up. Which means that the next thing I can do is go into, I can go into my init. I could also do this from the initd directory. Now, cd etc init.d. Now, this is not technically necessary. You don't have to be in this directory to issue the service status FTP command, particularly if you do so as root. Now, we're about to start configuring the server. Now, if I want to, okay, so I'm in the etc directory. Your instructions are to, as root, change directory into /etc. Then you're going to open your vsftp conf file. You can get into etc without being root, but in order to, if you ever have to get into a directory that only root can get into, doing sudo cd will never work because cd is actually part of bash itself. It's a function, not a program. Well, technically speaking, I suppose a function is a program. It's more of a subroutine, really. In any case, if you want to navigate the file system, if you have to navigate the file system as root, you really have to be root. So su to root to do that. I'm not going to do that here because I'm in this directory. Let's look at a long listing of the vsftpd config file. Okay, so it belongs to root. Only root can write it. Only root as the root user can write it. Notice that my group, it belongs to both the root user and the root group, but the root user can write to it. The root group can only read to it. So we need to be careful about this. Actually, the first thing I want to do is make a copy of this. And what I'm going to do is do sudo cp vsftpd.conf to root vsftpd.conf.bak. So, okay, and I guess it would help if I spelled it correctly. Yes. So what I've done here is I've made a backup copy, and I've made that backup copy of this config file in case everything goes wrong. And I've not only made a backup of it, backup of it, but I've put it in a place where I wouldn't normally think to edit it. This is another layer of security for myself, just in case I mess this up. So the next thing to do, sudo vim vsftpd.conf. And it's going to think for just a minute, and I'm going to start uncommenting things. So this is the first thing I need to do is, okay. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to line 31, and I can uncomment Shift-I to go into insert mode, delete that comment, escape WQ to save, Shift-I again, and I'm going to go now down to lines 99 and 100 to allow ASCII mode transfers. This will allow you to decide whether you want to transfer a file as binary data or as an ASCII file. It is important to do these things in the right way. If you're pulling down a binary file, make sure you're pulling it down as binary and not as an ASCII file. Because if you pull a binary file down as ASCII, what you get is an ASCII readout of its hexadecimal content. Now, if that's what you want to do, if you're trying to do a hex dump of a program so you can analyze it in some other way, that's fine. But chances are, if you're trying to pull down a text file, you're going to want it as an ASCII document, ASCII file, so you can actually edit it. And if you're trying to pull down a binary, you want to pull it down as binary so you can actually use it as data or as a program. So, line 99, delete, delete, and okay, so now we're going to go down to line 122 here. You can allow the root user to chroot and Shift-I. We're going to put another line in. Allow writable chroot equals yes. Now, if I wanted to demonstrate the power of this thing to validate itself, I could accidentally misspell some of this. Like leave the O out of allow. And then when I restart, it will fail because it will find a syntax error. So, escape WQ. And I believe I may also turn the listen on right up here. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn listening to IPv6 off because I'm trying to build this as an IPv4 network. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to escape :WQ will save and quit. Now the next thing I'm going to do is restart this service. So cd, just go into the initd directory. Sudo service vsftpd restart. Bam. Now, the next thing I want to do, I want to go to my client, which is here. And I want to see if that nmap, if that server is up. Nmap 192.168.1.5. Is it 5? Let me scroll up just a bit. 1.5, yes. I want to make sure my client can see it, because if my client can't see it, there's really no point in trying to test anything else. And my client cannot see it. So I think I might actually need that listen line open. And now let's cross-check this. Okay, So I restarted vsftpd and I lost that port. So clearly I need to okay. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. That happened because I was in the etc and itd directory. So I need to change this to yes. And I'm going to change it to status. And it is up. I'm going to double check here on my client. And it's there again. Good. All right, so picking up where I left off, I had enabled and opened the FTP service. I had enabled it by making some changes, but one thing I hadn't done, I initially left the listening equals no setting configured, and then I nmapped from both from the server and from the client, and no one could see the FTP port open. That's the command port is port 21. Remember, FTP is one of those TCP-based services which actually uses 2 ports. DHCP is another one. DHCP uses ports 67 and 68. TCP uses 20 and 21. 21 stays open all the time. It's the command channel. And 20 only opens if you have to move data around. So, but the next thing I'm going to do is go down to my client, and I am going to try to FTP in. So I'm going to do FTP. There's a couple different ways to do this. If I do FTP, I'm going to try it IMP 192.168.1.5. I will see if this works. What I might have to do is actually use, okay, name or service not, no, okay, open 192.168.1.5. Okay, amp. And there, I'm in. So feeding it the username at IP address did not work, but if you start the FTP client by itself, then use the open command. Let's do help. Help, these are the commands you can run using once you get into the FTP program. FTP is basically functioning as an interactive program right now. You can open, close, etc. Let's type bell. Okay, so that turns, and let me set up binary mode. Do put etc var log boot dot log. Okay, it's possible. Let's see. It's possible that this file, that the file is in the wrong place. Oh, of course, there is no etc var log boot log. Okay, let's try that again. And of course, in FTP, the command recall does not work. Okay, so my problem is that I'm trying to reach the var directory and there is no var directory. So let's go to cd documents dir or ls. Okay, there's nothing there. I'm going to pause this for just a second. Okay, so I've created some information to move. Okay. There. So I pulled a text file from my FTP server down to my client, and you get a probably badly rendered rendition of the part of the prologue of Henry V. So the next thing I'm going to do is see if I can't throw Metasploitable at this thing and punch a hole through it. Be right back.